In 2004, a young Strat Tom sat down to watch a bizarre game show on the BBC. It was called Time Commanders, a show hosted by Richard Hammond, who seemingly hosted everything in 2004. On the show, a group were brought in, and through the magic of computer wizardry, they could take the control of the armies of the ancient world. They would be presented with a famous battle, and they had to win it. I thought to myself, imagine if this were a video game and not just a TV show. How awesome would that be? Thankfully, Time Commanders was using a graphics engine developed for an upcoming video game, Rome Total War. I put so many hours into that game, an untold number of hours. I had to buy a second copy eventually. I had worn down the disc, I played it so much. Imagine my surprise and delight when 17 years later I heard that one of my favourite games of all time was getting the remaster treatment. But does it live up to the highest of standards set? I'm Strat Tom, and this is the review of Total War Rome Remastered. The game begins with the Roman Republic on the verge of greatness, but still very much a regional power rather than an empire. As the player, you choose one of a multitude of factions to control and lead to greatness. In the original version of the game, there were only a limited number of factions to choose from, but the remaster has unlocked them all for you to play. The basic premise of the game is that you control your faction in two different map modes. First is the campaign map. On the campaign map, you manage your cities, armies, navies, and agents. You decide where to allocate your resources, be it on constructing new buildings or recruiting new soldiers. You then move your armies around the map before ending your turn and allowing your rivals to do the same. When your armies engage with an enemy army or settlement, we zoom right in and fight on the battlefield map. But we'll get to that later. One big question people had going into the remaster was regarding the huge historical inaccuracies in the game. Would they be fixed, or at least altered slightly? The answer is a resounding no. Whether that's a good thing or not is up to you. The Egyptian faction still looks like it's in the Bronze Age, which, for context, if we'd gone the other way, time-wise, would have meant Roman legions armed with muskets and cannons. There is also still a faction called Spain, despite the fact that having a faction called Spain in Medieval 2 Total War was anachronistic, never mind Rome Total War. There are some ahistorical troops like Armenian legionnaires and the Roman ninjas, the Arcani. Like I said though, I can't help but feel some would be disappointed no matter what they did. Personally, I would have been disappointed if they had changed too much from the original game, and I, obviously, take the game's historical credentials with a pinch of salt. So, it doesn't bother me. Overall, if you've played the original, you won't see too much in the way of change regarding the premise. They have stuck to the original tone and feeling of the game, warts and all. Likewise, in terms of the gameplay, not a great deal has changed. Given that Rome Total War is often regarded as one of the greatest of the series, maybe that's not such a bad thing. The battles are still so much fun, and one thing that I still really love about this game is the variety of playstyles and tactics required. Playing as Parthia, then Macedonia, then Carthage, they all require you to approach the game in a totally different way. This is one thing that I think modern Total War games have lacked to some extent. If you're looking for a nostalgia trip, you will definitely get it in Total War Rome Remastered. But you have to regard the gameplay in the same way as I regarded the premise. It comes with warts and all. Rome is strikingly simplistic in comparison with modern games. Campaigns will often devolve into huge superpowers fighting one another, usually the Roman factions. If you liked the battles in Rome Total War, and I did, then you'll have no problems here. Assaulting large settlements is still thrilling, and huge, large-scale battles still have that tension and excitement. I had a battle recently wherein one well-timed cavalry charge into the rear of my enemy's position caused a mass rout that won me a battle that had been hanging in the balance. It's such an amazing feeling when that happens. Given that this review is judging the remaster rather than reviewing the original game, then I don't have a great deal more to say about the gameplay. It's still very much the same as it was. But one thing I will add here is that nostalgia can work its tricks sometimes. Some people may have played Rome Total War years ago, thinking it was amazing and were so excited to get stuck into the remaster. Some of those people are going to be disappointed as they come face to face with the reality of the fact that this is an old game with a new lick of paint. It doesn't play or feel like some of the newer titles, and as much as we might hate to admit it, those newer titles are, at least in some ways, superior to the old, even the games we loved so much. And that might be jarring for some. When making a remaster, the presentation is what really matters. Total War Rome Remastered has had numerous graphical and quality of life improvements implemented. The game is slicker and smoother than you could have dared dream possible in 2004. The use of the camera is much improved, being able to rotate the campaign map and zoom in into impeccable detail. There's a whole host of new and improved menus to navigate the game, and this is one of the few examples of the remaster being made to feel like a modern game. The music too is sharper and crisper than ever before, and with a soundtrack as epic and immense as Rome Total War's, that's definitely a good thing. Personally, I found that the music is what sent the biggest pang of nostalgia through me when I fired up the remaster. It's so good. But I guess the biggest concern for any remaster is the graphics. And they've done a great job at giving a makeover to one of my favourite games, and the graphics, they really are a vast improvement. However, this is one of those instances where you may need to temper your expectations. It really is just a makeover, a new lick of paint on what came before. If you're expecting a new graphics engine with all of the individual fighting and dueling animations that we have come to expect from later games, then prepare to be disappointed. It is still just guys making vague stabbing and slashing motions before the enemy falls down. If this were 2004 and I were a teenager reviewing Rome Total War, there's no doubt in my mind that I'd be giving a 10 out of 10 here. At the time, Rome Total War was one of the most complete and all-consuming games I'd ever played. It was everything that I'd ever wanted in a strategy game. Roman history and battle tactics brought to glorious life on my computer screen. If this sounds anything like how you felt, then you've probably already bought the remaster and didn't need my recommendation. The remaster serves its purpose as a wonderful nostalgia trip, and there are hours of enjoyment to be had here. But how much you truly like this remaster, I think is dependent on your expectations going into it. If you understand that this is essentially a graphically dolled up 17-year-old game, then you'll love this remaster as much as you loved the original. However, if you go in with the rose-tinted glasses on, forgetting all the things that were wrong with this game, and forgetting all the years of progress that has gone into modern strategy games, then this remaster is going to bring you down to earth harshly. If you were hoping that they would upgrade and fix everything, prepare to be let down. I'm not going to do my usual list of pros and cons today because, like I say, I'm not here to judge a game per se, but rather than the attempt to remaster it. So let's just get to the score. There is a reason that Rome Total War dominated so many hours of my life. Everything I loved about this game is still there, just looking sharper. Just because I'm done with this review does not mean I'm done with this game, not by a damn sight. There are still many more hours to be had with this game. My empire is there, and I'm going to retake it. And for that reason, I'm giving Total War Rome Remastered an 8 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of Total War Rome Remastered? Are you enjoying it as much as you hoped? Or is the game showing its age? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Also, feel free to check out my ranked video where I rank all the historical Total War games from worst to best. Rome Total War didn't actually get my #1 spot, so go check out what did. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'm Strat Tom, and I'll see you next time.